Thomas and Friends is no stranger to a fright or two, but how scary can it get? I don't think the staring is gonna do anything. Just start analyzing the episodes. You're right, you're right. Ghost Train begins very ominously in just the first 5 seconds alone. Right off the bat, we get some owl sounds along with a chilling organ. It turns out to be Percy telling a story about the Ghost Train, whom apparently was spotted by Percy's driver. Thomas and Toby obviously don't believe Percy, I mean, why would they? And even Percy's driver denies any sort of encounter with the Ghost Train. That night, Percy crashes into a truckload of lime, turning him into a ghost.
Do let's pretend I'm a ghost and scare Thomas. That'll teach him to say I'm a silly little engine. Toby promised to help.
Alright, what kind of betrayal is that? Toby, I expect better from you.
Pee, pee, pip, 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 pee. Let me in, let me in, wailed Percy. No, no, not by the smoke of my chimney, chim, chim. I'll chuff and I'll puff and I'll break your door in.
It appears that Percy and Toby's plan has worked tremendously, despite Thomas trying to be nonchalant.
Well, 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 what do you know about that? Anyone would think, chuckled Toby, that our Thomas had just seen a ghost.
Well, you heard it here, folks. If your friend doesn't believe in ghosts, traumatize them into believing. Works every time. Right off the bat, Haunted Henry seems to be very similar to Ghost Train, with Edward explaining to Henry a legend about a ghost who was apparently around whenever a mist rolls in.
Stupid bird, said Henry.
Fun fact, when this episode aired on PBS Kids Sprout, they very awkwardly censored the word stupid.
Take care on the old line, Henry. Bird, said Henry.
Henry denies there being a mist, which he turns out to be very wrong about.
It's an amber lamp, murmured his driver. That means proceed with caution. Who's there?
Now, driver, I know if I would do that, trying to interact with the ghost will probably just make things worse. Rest in peace in advance.
And there's a fogman's coat. But where's its owner? Then they saw a light move within the station building. Ghosts! Exclaimed Henry. Edward was right!
Crazy series of coincidences. Henry's driver tells Henry that the viaduct has been repaired and they can return there that night, with Henry being very skeptical. That night, it doesn't take Henry long to get spooked after hearing an owl and Gordon rushing by with the express. The troublesome trucks tease Henry and call him scared, which he denies. Which is ironic, given that when they do arrive at the mist, the troublesome trucks get spooked along with Henry.
A mysterious figure watched Henry go by.
I mean, I don't know, that just seems like a regular human to me. But what do I know? The troublesome trucks plunge into the ravine. Oh hey, I was right, it was just poor old Bailey who was trying to warn the drivers about the viaduct. He sounds very disappointed too.
I tried to warn you about that viaduct. Why didn't you pay attention? We're sorry we ignored your warnings, replied the driver. Is there anything we can do to thank you? I'd like to operate that old station again, if you let me. I promise I won't spook Henry.
Personally, I would ask for money. Old Bailey is honored and gets to operate his station again. And the troublesome trucks just rotted in the ravine forever, I guess. Karma. And now for an actual Halloween episode titled, Halloween. I'm sure whoever came up with that title got a raise. I mean, this is the hit era we're talking about. Sir Topham Hatt orders Thomas and Emily to go to the smelter's yard to pick up an important delivery of iron. Percy is worried about Thomas and Emily going to the seemingly scary smelter's yard. However, Thomas and Emily claim that it's, quote, just silly make-believe. Thomas and Emily mock how Percy was saying that the smelter's yard is scary. It would not take long, however, until Thomas and Emily would regret saying this. As soon as they enter the smelter's yard, they are met with haunting steel and scrap. Harry and Bert take this as the perfect opportunity to tease some engines. And they're lucky they got Thomas and Emily, they really struck gold. Now the meat and potatoes of this episode comes from the scene inside the red-infused smelter's yard. Thomas and Emily, who are getting more and more scared by the second, chuff in the clanking chains and bizarre-looking shadows. A white tarp lands on Emily, making her think that the ghost has caught her and maybe possessed her. This terrifies Thomas, who thinks that Emily really is the ghost. In fact, Ari and Bert think this too. It's impressive how Emily got the last laugh at the end. Thomas, Ari, and Bert wake up the other engines at the sheds, or the steam team if you want to call them that, and warns them of the ghost engine. The tarp flies off Emily. The way he stands is so tough. Thomas, Emily, Ari, and Bert try to explain what's going on. After being questioned by Sir Topham Hatt, Ari and Bert admit what they did. Their punishment is to go back to the smelter's yard and collect the iron.
It was all silly make-believe.
Is that Reginald? Oh my god, guys, it's Reginald. He's right over there. Oh yeah, and a ghost, but oh my god, it's... The last episode we'll be looking at today, Duncan Gets Spooked, is not only the most iconic Scary Thomas episode, but also, probably, the scariest. It may begin all innocent at the hills of the Skarloey Railway, but trust me, it's all downhill from here. The troublesome trucks decide to break away from poor old Peter Sam because they definitely all have ADHD. And then they kinda just all die. That's cute. Sir Topham Hatt gives Peter Sam the punishment of having to work in the yard until he regains Sir Topham Hatt's trust. Duncan teases Peter Sam for this and believes that Peter Sam will get teased by ghosts. Rusty suggests that Duncan is probably afraid of ghosts, and tells him a story about a little engine who lost control on a bridge and fell into the swamps of the ravine, never to be seen again.
It was a misty, moonlit night. Suddenly, the engine lost control and plunged over the side into the swamps below.
Now that is actually quite chilling for a kid's show. They had some real guts. Duncan calls the story rubbish, but Rusty knows good and well that Duncan would in fact be terrified by a ghost. The next day, the workmen and Duncan's driver and firemen hatch a plan to play a trick on Duncan that night. They set up Duncan across the old iron bridge, and even before then, Duncan gets nervous. When he arrives at the bridge, he hears a mysterious sound and sees a bunch of insects who altogether resemble the likeness of an engine. And as icing on the cake, Duncan's driver throws a rock into the ravine. Duncan has seen enough and is officially spooked. We did it, Reddit. And that concludes today's insight on the fascinating Spooky Thomas episodes. Which would be more fascinating if they didn't all feel semi-recycled from each other. Like, think about it. All of these episodes follow the same formula of engine doesn't believe in spooky thing, they witness spooky thing, they're scared now. Sure, they're not all exactly the same, but the general theme remains consistent. But even then, these are all very fun episodes that play heavily into the theme of illusions and spookiness. Even the Hit Era Halloween episode, well done Hit Era for once. And that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below if any of these episodes spooked you as a kid, or as an adult, I don't judge. And also write down which one of these episodes is your favorite. Rust out, ooh. Too corny? Right.